Parliamentary approval.
Clearly, this can be found in the budget statement. If you look at page 101 of the media review, I can also confirm to you that as Finance Committee, we have not considered any commercial agreement for the procurement of vaccine. I'm also aware that the Health Committee of Parliament has also not considered any commercial agreement for the procurement of vaccine.
We'll hear from the ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament and get your reactions. Meanwhile, the Ghana Health Service has today begun a rollout of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine in the Ashanti region, with the Greater Accra region set to commence on Monday.
We are starting the Johnson & Johnson vaccination from Monday. We are going to be able to ensure that at least 100,000 people are vaccinated.
And Top Story is brought to you by Gassam, the Nation Builder, and Vodafone. Together we can. My name is Ernest Manu. Tonight, the minority in Parliament have raised fresh concerns about government's expenditure on COVID-19 vaccines. It has emerged that another 109 million Ghana cedis was paid for the procurement of Johnson & Johnson vaccines without express approval of Parliament. This comes even in the wake of the controversy surrounding the procurement of the Sputnik V vaccines. And as you may be aware, the ad hoc committee that probed this issue established a number of breaches, including failure of the health minister to seek parliamentary approval. This has generated calls for the health minister to either resign or be removed. But even before that issue settles, the ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament, Kezola Tuforson, says the contract for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which government secured through the African Union platform, was also not brought before Parliament. Listen.
I mean, what I know for sure is that government has paid an amount of 109 million Ghana cedis, and clearly this can be found in the budget statement. If you look at page 101 of the media review, it is clearly there that government has indeed advanced an amount of 109 million Ghana cedis for the purposes of procuring a vaccine. In fact, the president had earlier on said that about $25 million has been paid for a particular vaccine. I can also confirm to you that as Finance Committee, we have not considered any commercial agreement for the procurement of vaccine. I'm also aware that the Health Committee of Parliament has also not considered any commercial agreement for the procurement of vaccine, in line with Article 1815 of the Constitution. So clearly, Parliament is not aware of this procurement.
Would this necessitate another probe from your side, or at least a request on that?
Probably we'll have to wait and see how things will unfold and to find out as to whether there is a legitimate reason why government decided not to come to Parliament or not. You see, that kind of fact must be established first. And if it's clear that government had no legitimate reason not to have come to Parliament, then obviously an action can be taken. But if clearly there is a legitimate reason of which government decided to go through that route, then we'll be satisfied.
But given the nature of the report that was issued by the ad hoc committee that looked at the Sputnik V, where the report cited that even though it was an emergency situation, the health minister could have come under a certificate of urgency to look at the contract and to have it passed, would you still think that there will be any other reason legitimate for government to withhold this from Parliament?
Yes. My reading of the Constitution clearly tells me that under Article 1815, if indeed government signed an international agreement, there's the need for the government to have come to Parliament to actually get it approved or otherwise. Yes, we will await on the Attorney General to give his opinion. So if the AG, who's the government lawyer, gives an opinion to say that government doesn't need to come to Parliament under Article 1815, we'll also peruse it and to look at the details to find out whether that is the case or not. But clearly, my reading of the Constitution is that government should come to Parliament under Article 1815 to seek approval before this can become a legitimate contract. regardless whether it is an emergency or no emergency. And that is why even in emergency, Parliament is sitting. We can't sit, get it approved under certificate of urgency. That's a fact. The right thing needs to be done. You cannot jump processes because of emergency. Because in the same emergency, Parliament is sitting. We are working under emergency to deal with emergency issues. There are times that we go to Parliament, even in emergency, and there are times that even in emergency we go there, we sit down looking for government to bring things that are emergency, but they fail to bring them as emergency, so we speak.
So that is Kaiser Latufosin, the ranking member on the Finance Committee of Parliament. He points to the media budget review, and we have been checking to be sure that these claims are true. Now, when you go to the media budget review, the paragraph 395 and the three paragraphs even before this talks essentially about government's effort in vaccinating or inoculating the population. Now, 395 says government is expecting through the COVAX facility 1 million Pfizer vaccines from USA, 229,670 Pfizer vaccines from the AU, and 249,000 AstraZeneca vaccines from the United Kingdom. Government is also in the process of procuring 17 million doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccines through the African Medicine Supply Platform in the third quarter of this year. That is all the finance minister reads in this part. But when you go to the appendices, that is where government gives details of COVID-19 expenditures. My colleague Kweku Asante joins me in the studio. Kweku, you've been looking at that. What does it say?
Right, Ernest. So if you look at Appendix 4E of the statement that was made to Parliament by the Finance Minister, a number of expenditures related to COVID-19 are listed, and you would see there 15% down payment for Janssen SARS-CoV-2, and the amount is 109 million. And so the explanation for that is that is 15% down payment for 12,689,062 doses of COVID-19 vaccine as Ghana's allocation from the AU's Africa Vaccine Acquisition Trust. And so that amount of money, according to this appendix
in the media budget
review, 109 million has been expended towards this.
And that is 15% of the amount.
Yes, that is 15% of 12,689,062 doses of COVID-19 vaccines. So 15% of this number of vaccines government expects to procure from Janssen is that 109 million.
Very well. That's my colleague Kweku Asante there. But the ranking member on the Finance Committee, Kaiser Latufosin, also tells me that even though the House is on recess, the Health Committee, together with the leadership of Parliament, is considering this issue and will subsequently communicate their decision on how to proceed. But he adds that these revelations justify his call for a full audit of all COVID-19 expenditures.
So let's see how things will unfold. What I know is that the Health Committee, working with the leadership of Parliament, is probing this matter to find out the detail of it, and the details and the fact of the matter will determine as to whether we should take further action or to leave it as it is. But we'll wait for the details. Government has spent huge amount of money. I mean, something close to about, if I'm not mistaken, more than 2% of GDP has certainly been spent on COVID-19. To date, we have not seen any form of an audit relating to COVID-19. Yes, the finance minister now in the budget statement, the media review, that there was going to be a probe, an audit into the expenditure of COVID-19. I also cited a document, the IMF Article 4 document, saying that the Ghanaian authority has agreed to conduct an audit into the expenditure of COVID-19. So all what we can do as to when this audit will be done, I'm not aware that the Auditor General has commissioned an audit yet. And I remember the Honorable Muntaka and myself in 2020 even wrote to the Auditor General to commission some form of audit into the expenditure of COVID-19 expenditure. I don't know whether that has been done or not, but if that has been done, certainly I would have seen it. But I can conclude that as we speak, we've not had any feedback from the Auditor General that says that something is being done or something has been done. So I will conclude that nothing has been done.
Let's go into the phone lines now. We're joined by a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, Dr. Stephen Amo. We're grateful for your time here on Top Story. So you can also confirm that indeed there was no agreement before the House or even before your committee to approve of such an amount of money for the procurement of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Thank you very much. Actually, speaking on extemporaneously, it's taking me, I'm in a position not to say yes or no because I can't remember. But I think my position on this whole issue is that
just before you proceed let me
go on.
No, just on this. I know you proceed to look.
Can I finish?
Very well.
What I'm saying is that this whole issue that my minority brothers are going about trying to paint this picture, I think to me it's in a very bad faith because they know that from our PFM Act 2016 Act 921 Section 16, it makes three emphatic statements or conditions. One, when there is war, when there is natural disaster, when there is health epidemic, even our fiscal rules and policies of our consultations are to be suspended. My brothers, we are talking about peacetime and wartime. We are talking about saving lives and also saving pennies. What I'm saying is that if there's evidence of siphoning of state funds, then of course we agree. But this issue about we did not follow this rule, we did not do that at the time that the whole world, in fact, even look at England, as giant economy as it is, they were not getting the second jab and people were dying. And under this situation, one would expect that the health minister and the MPP government, all those involved, should have gone through all the bureaucratic and parliamentary emergency, this and that. Please, I think what they are doing, in my opinion, they are not even having Ghanaians at heart. I am surprised. Let's all be honest. Let us all be honest. I don't want to do any comparison here when it comes to under their tenure, when we're not even having all these conditions. There were a lot of institutions.
Let's not do the
comparison.
Let's not do the comparison. Let's not do the comparison as you mentioned. But I to my first question, the question I posed to you, so that we'll come back to the substantive issue about whether they are doing this with bad faith or not. You are saying that you cannot remember that such an agreement was brought before at least the committee to peruse or to provide to give advice on.
Can you listen to me, please? The most important factor is not even whether it went there or not. In the first place, it's not even an issue to be considered under this situation.
Why is that not an issue?
Situation. So the PFM Act statement that under this condition we should even suspend our fiscal rules and policies. What do the fiscal rules and policies entail? Let's ask ourselves. The fiscal rules is basically about taxes and our budget and the expenditure of our budget, even discretionary arm. The conditions guiding them, even PPA and co, and parliamentary approval and co. The law states, unless probably you get a better practitioner, I'm not a legal practitioner, that we should even suspend this. And one knew the situation we found ourselves in. That one could have made a lot of mistakes. One wouldn't have had even the alternative to go through all these things. One were not even getting the vaccine. Should we allow Ghanaians to die? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, Mr. Amon,
our minority brothers, I don't think they really love Ghana. Whatever they want to do, they should go on. At the end of the day, the good God that we are serving and the good people of Ghana have known what they are doing. It's all about 2024. They want to win elections, so they want to muddy the waters. What I'm saying is that PFM Act 2016 at 91 Section 18 states three conditions. One of which is what we are having. And even if this law makes this emphatic statement asking us to even suspend fiscal rules and policies, and they want to avoid all this, even in law, they talk about the spirit and the letter. What does that mean? I don't even understand what they are trying to achieve. It's all about gaining political capital and having competitive edge out of malicious intention to let Ghanaians think that, the covenant. At the end of the day, the most important factor was the lives of Ghanaians. And the whole world is seeing that Ghana is one of the best countries in managing COVID-19 to save lives. I think it is very important we acknowledge that.
Well, the issue about its importance or not, I mean, the Supreme Court has ruled on several occasions that it's very important that Parliament gives express approval for international agreements. But even that aside, the committee that probed the Sputnik V vaccine, Dr. Roy, if you could just listen to me, the committee that probed the Sputnik V vaccine stated clearly in their report that the minister, the excuse that there was an emergency situation, does not hold water because the minister could have come under a certificate of urgency and Parliament will look at the deal. So, and the committee had members from your side on it.
Knowing the minority that we have, my brother, I've made a statement from the PFM Act, an act that guides how we should spend our money as a country. They have set aside a condition under which we must suspend all these things that we are talking about. So what are they talking about? Even as Ghanaians, let's all be fair with ourselves. If we had gone through all this and probably people hadn't even gotten jobs or whatever and they had died, the same people would have said that we made mistake, we did not take the right alternative. Please, I mean, let's be fair.
And so your position is that the health minister didn't need to come to Parliament for approval on this deal.
What I'm saying is the requirement that we have per the stipulate of the PFM Act. I'm not a legal practitioner, but if I were the health minister, I would have done the same thing. If I were a finance minister, if it falls within my jurisdiction, I wouldn't sit there and save penny while people die. I wouldn't do that. I would have. I mean, if your child is having convulsion and you're not getting medicine and it's scars all over the world, then you say I should go and see the elderly. This is the law. Now that Ghanaians' lives have been protected, preserved, and saved. Now we are coming back to say that you didn't go and consider this, you didn't go and see this, you didn't go and contact this. I think we are not being fair with the health minister. We are not being fair with the good people of this country. We are just heaping scorn on the importance of Ghanaians' lives. This is what we are doing. This is what we are doing. Under the NDC, there are a lot of issues that even they do not require any emergency. Institutions that were not even having entity tender committees and audit committees, and they did a lot of procurement in very fictitious and dubious ways. Please, my brother, if you were in our position and they would let Ghanaians die, we wouldn't let Ghanaians die. They should crucify the health minister and crucify MPP.
So Mr. Amwa, on even the recommendations that the ad hoc committee made, for instance, on the Sputnik V vaccine, you do not agree with that committee's recommendation, and the fact that they established that the minister breached. The fact that they established that the minister breached all these arrangements from the PPA, did not provide the approval of the Attorney General, and also did not present it to Parliament. You agree with the committee's work?
Repeating the same statement, and I understand your position. If I were probably the NDC, maybe because of politics, I don't know whether I would do that. But what I'm saying is that ask yourself, and the situation in which we found ourselves, we are talking about peacetime and war times. We are talking about outlier situations that we cannot compare today to other conventions and legal frameworks in terms of how we must adhere to our legal requirements. We are talking about a situation where one of the most important legal documents or tool of this country has made emphatic statement without any ambiguity or debate that three conditions, one of which is what we went through. And even if out of that, we've been able to secure some of these vaccines and save the lives of Ghanaians, now you are talking about he didn't go through this procedure, he didn't go through that procedure. This is what we are talking about. If there is a material evidence to underpin any misconception or fact that, monies were siphoned into this pocket, that one, of course, I'm against corruption. But if we're talking about compliance, when people were dying, I am shocked as a people. What we want to do, is it where we are taking Ghana to? I am so shocked. I can't believe it.
Well, Dr. Amwa, I want to thank you very much for your time here on Top Story. That is Stephen Amwa, who is a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament. We're grateful for your time. That Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which has generated another controversy today, has already, been started. It's been rolled out today, and it started in the Ashanti region. The Ghana Health Service today began the program, but here in the Greater Accra region, we're told that the process will start on Monday. We'll be going to the Ashanti region shortly to speak to our correspondent Ohim Nteya, who has been monitoring the program for an update on day one. But here in the Greater Accra region, my colleague Kweku Asante followed the process. Kweku, you met with the Greater Accra Regional Director on Health on their plans for the rollout of the vaccines in Accra. How many people are they looking to vaccinate?
Right. So in Greater Accra region, the directorate is looking at vaccinating 100,000 people. We know that the Johnson & Johnson single-dose vaccine that came in, 170,000 was received. Greater Accra region got the lion's share, and they are looking at vaccinating 100,000 people in 7 districts.
A couple of districts will start today, but essentially,
we are starting the Johnson & Johnson vaccination. We are starting it fully from Monday, which is 16th August through to 20th August. Greater Accra region, we are going to be able to ensure that at least 100,000 people are vaccinated with this Johnson & Johnson vaccine. For this vaccination exercise, we are concentrating on the hotspots where the new cases, they are recording lots of more new cases. The districts where we are concentrating on for this is going to be Accra Metro, Tema Metro, Okaikwe North, Ablekuma Central, Gonkatamanso, and then also we have Adenta.
And so that is the Director of Health for the Greater Accra region, but also they have some people they are prioritizing for this third phase.
Right. So they are looking at the aged. So if you are 60 years and above, the aged. So if you are 60 years and above, they are prioritizing you, as well as people who have comorbidities, and so people who have other illness, for which reason, if they have COVID-19, the chances that they will suffer are very high. The regional director explains.
All the eligible people who live there and have not been vaccinated, either with the AstraZeneca or with the Sputnik V vaccine that we did, then you are eligible, with the exception of pregnant women. As usual, of course, priority will be given to the aged, that is 60 years and above, and also individuals that have either other comorbidities.
Dr. Charity Sapon is the Greater Accra Regional Director of Health. Let me take you now to the Ashanti region. My colleague Ohemen Teria joins me. Ohemen, earlier in the day when the program started, there was some delay on the part of the officials. Tell us how it panned out later.
Yes, Kojo. I must say 4 districts in the Ashanti region are participating in this exercise. Kumasi Metro, Asokwa, Oforikrum, and then Kwadaso Municipal. These are the areas officials say are noted for COVID-19 cases in recent times. So the exercise, though, was scheduled to begin this morning by 12 midday. Some areas were still not started. For instance, at the Menchia Government Hospital, and then Oforikrum, and then Asokwa, and then some parts of Ekwada. So, with the exception of KMA, where facilities like the Central Government Hospital had starting about 9 a.m. and that's at 12 p.m. They had vaccinated over 100 people in that regard. But some areas are still, have difficulties to contend with. I must say, anxious residents who wanted to be vaccinated by all means had gathered at these facilities, hoping that they will be attended to. So in some instances, it was not until after 12 p.m. that they had the opportunity to be vaccinated.
You mentioned anxious residents. Doesn't mean that the turn-up was massive in all the 4 centers.
Looking at how the announcement and publicity went for this exercise, then you want to believe that, yes, the numbers at these facilities were not all that bad. Just that health officials believe that today being the opening day, they expected a crowd at these places. So tomorrow they expect a much bigger crowd than what was registered today. Dr. Ejahopoku of Central Government Hospital, for instance, said within their catchment, they are looking at 8,000 people to be vaccinated. So we expect that people will be there, the place will be crowded, as and when the announcement gets to them.
How many days will this be running?
In the Ashanti region, we are looking at from today to 18th of this month for these 4 districts in the region. And health officials believe that once these are hotspots, with being able to vaccinate the people in these areas to go a long way to protect them against COVID-19.
There's a concern that people who may have taken their jabs already with the AstraZeneca may show up again for the Johnson & Johnson. The health officials mentioned what mechanisms they're putting in place to ensure that no such thing happens.
Yes, they did mention at the Menchia Government Hospital, for instance, the public health nurse indicated that they have an app, a pool of data to ensure that those who have had the first jab from the AstraZeneca do not, find their way into the Johnson & Johnson jabs. But these areas, there were no incidents of people who have had the first jab coming over to them. But at the Central Government Hospital, for instance, Dr. Ejakupoku, the medical superintendent, explained that the facility has received some people who have had the first jab for the AstraZeneca. So they have to take their time to explain to them that it's not to say that every injection is injection, so they must come for this particular injection. So we can listen to Dr. Ejakupoku.
Well, we'll do that subsequently, Ohimin. But I want to thank you for monitoring the process and bringing us up to speed on the day one of the exercise in the Ashanti region. The process has begun there. And of course, here in the Greater Accra region, we understand that will begin on Monday. So that's it for Top Story, brought to you by Gassam, the Nation Builder, and Vodafone. Together we can. My name is Ernest Manu. Ghana Connect with Daniel Dazi comes up shortly after these batch of messages.
58, 78, Hey, Charlie, my network is really killing me. I have to pay my uncle's workers via mobile money, but the charges alone, it's about 380 cedis.
Charges alone just to send money? That's $10 of cement already, my guy.
Listen, bro, you can save money on